The fall 17 season has come to a close, guys. You all look so sad. I'm so sorry. But before we get to the post-game show, the Alliance ran the table, perfect season, in their first season, in the league's first season. And there's something with first seasons and undefeated teams. You know, the Brotherhood does it back in Connecticut. Shout out to them. They went 2 undefeated seasons back-to-back. So the Alliance still has some stuff to do. But they win here, beat Boom-Shakalaka, as you can see behind me, 133-104. Got a little out of hand at the end. Got a little fun at the end. Everyone just kind of trying to see what they can do. But they cut it to 9 in the third. Boom-Shakalaka did. Lucas Martin hitting some threes. They really shot it well for a team that the majority of them played in the All-Star game right before it. I was waiting for the legs to give out. You know, that's a big intro for the final post-game show. Let's get to some not-so-free ads. The finals post-game show presented by CrossNet Game. Link below the video, code LEGACY. LEGACY, right, Tyler?
Yes, sir.
One last time. Tyler, Mike, and Greg. I'm Joey. Finals, an all-star night. Let's start with the finals. The Alliance takes it home. Just check Facebook for that video of the finals MVP, Max Petroni, the regular season MVP, all of that presentation fun stuff. But let's talk about the game. Boom cut it to 9 in the third. We can kind of recap that game. It's sad. It's almost over. It's so sad. This is it. But what did the Alliance do? They mentioned that they kind of let up, and then they put it back on to pull away and finish it off. But go ahead, Greg. What did you see from the finals from the Alliance as they closed out that perfect season?
Yeah, as you mentioned, when they went down, or when they were only up by 9, they kind of let up on defense, and you could see Boom just wasn't missing either. Lucas Martin had like probably 4 or 5 straight threes where he was just jacking it from very far out, and he was just hitting it. So it was a mixture of the Alliance not playing D and Boom capitalizing and hitting their shots.
Yeah, I think he said it really well. I think they let up on defense. I think their rotations on that press were a little sloppy, and they kept the weak side was always wide open, and from there they broke it down. Either had a wide open shot or parted it for a layup or something.
Yeah, really no surprise here. That's pretty much what we've seen from the Alliance all season. Max Petroni got off to a hot start. I think he had 20 in the first quarter. Darius
They finished with what, 40?
Duncan left
43.
and right.
43?
Yeah, so they're a tough team to stop, and they deserve that championship, no doubt.
For sure. What did Boom do in that early third to cut it to 9? What did we see change that they weren't able to maintain? But what flipped that, you know, for a moment there, they weren't missing. They were hitting shots. They were getting stops, and it was like, this might be a game. But, you know, let's not, you know, it may not be a runaway. And then the Alliance is like, nah. But what did Boom do to flip that?
I'd say it's Alliance stepped up on D. They got more aggressive on the offensive side, and Boom started making some bad decisions. They had a few bad turnovers and a few missed threes, and I think that just led to their demise.
Yeah, I think part of it too was the Alliance started to get a little frustrated with themselves. They got a couple of technical fouls. They just did some things that were uncharacteristic of themselves and a little out of themselves. So,
what did Boom do?
I just thought Lucas Martin was really like the key factor. Like, he was hitting threes left and right, but he was getting in the paint too, which was forcing the defense to collapse, and he was kicking out to wide open threes that Kamara and Mark were hitting. And it didn't help Boom that Mark was in foul trouble early. I think he had 4 in the first half. Right. They were kind of shorthanded, so like they had no choice but to play him.
Right, and that changes the way he was able to play.
Defense, especially against a bigger, more physical
Cody
Alliance
and
team.
Max, you got it. We can come back to that and some final thoughts about the finals. Let's talk about that All-Star game that took place here right before the finals. Team Heston knocks off Team O'Donnell. We saw Connor Harrington put on a show. Ryan Ronsley played in the game. Lucas Martin did some Lucas Martin things that he was able to carry over into the finals. But what from that All-Star game stands out? I mean, it doesn't really matter who wins. Everyone seemed to have a good time, and that's really what it's about. But what from that game maybe shocked you or stood out thinking back to Team Heston taking down Team O'Donnell?
I'd say just both sides of the ball, or both teams really played unselfish. They were both very open and passing it on the fast break, hooping it. So it was a very fun game to watch from a neutral perspective.
yeah, I agree with him. I think a lot of people had fun. It was kind of a sloppy game, but I think you expect that with an All-Star game. A lot of missed open shots, but all in all, I think it was a really cool, fun experience for everybody.
Yeah, I think they kind of said it all. I was kind of hoping it would be a closer game down the stretch, and I know you were standing right next to me. You were like, oh, like anytime there was like close to a turnover, because you wanted to see it come down to that final stretch.
I don't care who wins in a lot of these games, except when I'm playing, obviously. But the All-Star game, you want the dunks, you want the highlights, and that gets old after about 3 quarters, which is perfect timing for when you want it to be close and you want to kind of see the better players on a team together going against another team, or the better players together, in a close game actually trying to win. And we didn't have it. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. It happens. But one player from the All-Star game that stood out, and then we'll do it again for the finals. This will be a good way to wrap it up. Player from the All-Star game that stood out.
I'd say Connor Harrington. He was getting up and down the floor, hitting a lot of tough alley-oops, finishing at the rim. It was pretty impressive.
And before you go, this is perfect. I want a little rapid fire. I love teammate-on-teammate action. That is like my favorite part of the All-Star game. And him and Heston, obviously friends, obviously kidding around after.
Yeah.
Both are blocking each other. Both are like lining up, ready to dunk on each other. I love it. It makes me so happy that like we don't get to see it all year, right? And then those two both can dunk. Are trying to put the other one in a poster. But who stood out from the All-Star game?
I was going to say Connor Harrington, but I think I'll go with Lucas Martin.
No copying.
No, I think Lucas Martin did a lot of pretty impressive things out there. He's a really skilled ball handler, and I think he had a couple of flashy passes. He threw a lot of alley-oops, too. Not all of them connected. Not always his fault, as you heard them talking a little bit back and forth. But I think he really stood out to me the most time.
I'll have to go with the MVP, Cody Crawford. He had a good game. It was kind of a toss-up for the MVP, too, between him and Heston, but I think he had a bit of a better game and just statistically and overall.
Yeah, definitely a tough choice for the All-Star MVP, not so tough a choice for the Finals MVP.
Even then, I mean, it was a tough choice. They had 3 players score over 30. Debnam had 17 boards.
Yeah.
But I think Matroni getting the 11 boards as a smaller player kind of pushed him over the edge.
And even forgetting the stats for a second, I think Cody in the All-Star game, just like eye test, I think he was deserving. And then even just eye test in the finals, whenever the Alliance needed a bucket, someone mentioned to me Max was playing like mad early on, which in the final, I mean, he's trying to finish him, in the first quarter by himself, right? So instead of doing a player to watch from the finals, your last little claim to fame on the postgame show, you get 2 words to sum up the season. You can tell by the looks on their faces we didn't prepare this. So, trying to put in the season in context here, and I'm rambling to give you guys some time. 2 words to sum up the season. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Oh, he's brave. Okay, yeah.
Getting posterized.
Getting posterized. I like it. Okay, that's it. You get 2 words. So
I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to say coming soon, because I'll be playing next year.
It's all about you, Mike. All right, Tyler.
I will say the Alliance.
The Alliance. There you go. Pursuing perfection. I thought of just now because that's
good.
My headline. Yeah, take notes, guys, on those headlines. By the way, those are all me. So, speaking of next season, good transition. Thank you. We'll be in Johnston January 24th for the Winter 18 season. So we're skipping the holidays. Hope everyone has a great holiday. And as the Fall 17 season is now over. Season 2, again, Winter 18, Johnston Rec Center, starting January 24th. Sign your teams up ASAP. Contact the league, contact me to find out more information how to get your team in. But it'll be fun. If the Alliance does, in fact, not come back in the same capacity, it'll make for some interesting storylines. And then hopefully they do come back eventually, maybe like summer, right? Skip a season, let someone else win, right? Just let someone else win. And then come back and as the league gets better, for them to come back and give it another go. So, any last, this is it. This is it,
The last hurrah.
Yeah, all right.
One final sign-off.
One final sign-off, yeah, I know.
From the guys.
From the guys. Yeah, we all have our sayings. At least it's not, let's kick it off, because that's what Sam would always say. Let's get right into it. Previewing the games. But for the guys, I'm Joey, and we will see you in January over in Johnston. Thank you for watching. Thanks for a good season, and hope to see you in Johnston.